All right, today we're diving into a case study that tackles a massive multi-million-dollar headache for pretty much every software company out there. We're going to see how one company used some clever AI to literally triple their feature adoption and make their users way happier in the process. So let's jump right in.
You know, this is the question that haunts every product manager, every engineer. You pour your heart and soul into building what you think is a total game changer. Months, maybe even years of work. You finally launch it, you're so excited, and then nothing. Just crickets. Why does this keep happening?
Well, there's actually a name for this. It's called the SaaS adoption paradox. And it's wild when you think about it. Companies are sinking millions into R&D, building all these incredible features, but their users, they just stick to the same 2 or 3 things they already know. It's a massive waste of potential, right? And it's a problem that was just begging for a new way of thinking.
So to really get a feel for this, let's look at a real-world example. We're going to follow the story of this major enterprise software company that was, well, they were at a breaking point, staring this exact problem right in the face.
And this chart, wow, it just lays the problem bare. When they dug into their own data, they found something pretty shocking. A full 60% of their users were only touching about 30% of the features. Can you believe that? They'd built this incredibly powerful engine, and most of it was just sitting on the shelf collecting dust.
And look, this wasn't just some number on a dashboard. This had real, painful consequences. Their support team was absolutely drowning in the same "how do I do this?" tickets over and over. The product managers, they were basically flying blind. No clue where people were getting stuck. And all the usual fixes, writing more guides, creating more tool tips, building out these huge knowledge bases, none of it was working. It just wasn't moving the needle.
And the company's VP of product, man, they just hit the nail on the head with this. They said, our users didn't need more documentation. They needed smarter guidance inside the product. It wasn't about a lack of information. It was about getting the right information to the user at the exact moment they needed it. A total shift in thinking was required.
Okay, so they knew the problem inside and out, but what did they do about it? Well, this is where a new solution comes into the picture. They decided to go with an AI platform called Doc-E.ai, which was built to do exactly what they needed, deliver smart, context-aware help.
And this wasn't a snap decision, by the way. They looked at a bunch of tools, but Doc-E.ai really stood out for 3 key reasons. First, the AI could actually anticipate when a user was about to get stuck and offer help right then and there. Second, the built-in analytics gave them a crystal clear map of where users were having trouble. And third, and this was huge for them, it had a flexible deployment that met their super strict enterprise security needs.
They rolled it out in this really smart 3-phase approach. Step 1 was all about getting that AI help live, targeting the features that nobody was using. Step 2 was plugging in the analytics to turn all that user data into actionable insights. And then Step 3, this was the real genius move. They used those insights to create automated loops that would help users before they even had a chance to get frustrated.
So you've got the problem, the solution, the plan. But the big question is, did it actually work? Let's get to the good part, the results. And you're not going to believe the turnaround they saw in just 90 days.
Okay, here's the headline. A 3x increase in feature adoption. I mean, that's not just a small improvement. That is a complete and total transformation.
And remember that drowning support team? They saw a 40% drop in support tickets. Think about that. All those hours they got back could now be spent making the product better instead of just putting out fires.
It wasn't just for existing users either. New customers were getting up to speed 25% faster. That crucial aha moment where they really get the value, it started happening in weeks, not months.
This table really tells the whole story. Look at these numbers, side by side. Feature adoption, it went from a pretty sad 32% all the way up to 94%. Support tickets dropped from 1,200 a month down to 720. And maybe the best metric of all, customer satisfaction. It jumped from 78% to a whopping 92%. I mean, the data just speaks for itself. It's undeniable. But it's not all about the numbers, right? This quote from their head of customer experience really gets to the heart of it. He said it was like they gave their customers superpowers because people were finally seeing the full value of what they'd bought. It's about empowerment, not just efficiency. Okay, so that's an amazing success story, but what can we learn from it? Let's break this down into 4 key takeaways that you can apply to pretty much any software product. Lesson number 1 is simple. Context beats documentation every single time. Stop making your users go hunt for an answer in some dusty old knowledge base.
You have to bring the help directly to them, right inside their workflow. The data shows it's 5 times more engaging. Think of it less like a library and more like a helpful co-pilot.
Second big lesson, your analytics have to be actionable. Having a dashboard that just shows you a bunch of red flags is kind of useless, right? It's like a fire alarm with no sprinkler system. The real power is when that data automatically triggers a solution and fixes the problem for the user right then and there.
Lesson 3 gets a little technical, but it's super important. It's about how you deploy this stuff. A hybrid AI approach basically gives you the best of both worlds. It keeps all your sensitive data safe and secure on-premise while still tapping into the massive power of the cloud for the heavy lifting. It's speed and security with no compromises.
And finally, lesson 4. This one is really looking towards the future. It's about something called agentic AI. Now, what does that mean? It means the AI isn't just following rules you gave it. It becomes a proactive partner. It's smart enough to spot a new problem like, hey, lots of people are getting stuck here, and then on its own, it creates a solution, like a new pop-up guide. It's a system that gets smarter all by itself.
So that brings us to the big idea at the end of all this. What this case study really shows is that when you make user help truly intelligent, feature adoption can basically become effortless. But it makes you wonder, right? If you can solve that, what else becomes effortless? Your product roadmap? Keeping customers happy and sticking around? Even training new employees? The potential here is just huge.